Turn it up, now we're back on air. Big games, big takes, yeah, we're going there. From the first hot mic to the final call. Nardog Sports Show, talking ball. Headlines hitting, yeah, the day moves fast. We call the big shots, then we double back. From the fight nights, fairways, brackets too. Football Sundays, we're riding through. Win or lose, we still bring the heat. Talk it loud, keep it sharp, no retreat.
It's the Nardog Sports Show, where the ball takes roll. Game time, prime time, let the whole thing go. Yeah, the Nardog Sports Show, coming fast, talking gold. From the kickoff line to the final show.
It's the Nardog Sports Show. What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, April 7th. This is the Nard Dog, Casey Siggins, coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, on a cold, windy, rainy night here in Tampa, joined by my usual brother from another mother, Max Marshall, up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Marsh, how we doing, man?
Living, baby. Living. You see it right here. Let me just frame that for you.
Masters
Number 12.
Week, that's right.
Number 12 coming right at you. I'm pumped. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. We're going to do a lot of Masters tonight. We've got a good show planned with some good topics, I think. Then we'll get into a little pick section. The four of us are going to do a little pick contest. We all have the same card, or about the same type of card. So we'll get into all that. But as you guys can see, we've got two new faces on the screen. Ryan is out on a little family vacation with his in-laws this week. So Ryan will not be joining us, but lucky enough and fortunate enough to have two new guests join the program. I'll start with Jussey, Justin Winters. Justin's become a good buddy. We went on a bachelor party a couple years ago for a mutual friend, and we've kind of been in this crazy group chat ever since. Justin has been very vocal about some of his hottest takes, both in just general sports, but in the golf world. So wanted to have him on. He's going to be a good guest for the Masters. He's a two-time state champ. He's a world-class casual swimmer, and he resides currently in Huntsville, Alabama. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Happy to be here. Really pumped to finally join the show and talk some golf, baby. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for jumping on. Next, we've got my buddy, Andrew Kubicheski. All you really need to know him by is Koob. He goes by the Koob. Andrew lives up in Atlanta, Georgia. Koob and I, we went to OU together. He grew up in Dayton, like Max and Justin and I, and went to Centerville High School. But Koob's just a great dude that we're lucky to have on the podcast. Koob has always been someone that kind of jumps to mind for me when I think about the Masters, and who in my kind of social network loves the Masters as much as anyone. I think he's had themed birthday parties for his son, and him and Tracy have thrown parties over the years. So Koob's a huge Masters guy, so I thought he'd bring a good perspective. And between and Justin, you guys will bring a lot more kind of resistance to the nut job that is Marsh on this show. But Koob, how we doing, man?
We're doing good, guys. It's a blast to be here. You know, been chomping at the bit to get on the show. So glad I could join for one of the best weeks of the year.
Yeah, man. We are happy to have you and glad you're here as well. Thank you for coming on. We're going to get into all the Masters, but let's just kind of put a bow on this college basketball season that has come and gone. This Final Four was really kind of a queef in the wind, if you will, in terms of how this season came to an end. Marsh, I'll kick it to you first, since you're the regular co-host. But thoughts on a very disappointing 3 games over the weekend to cap out the college basketball season?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever fallen asleep watching sports more than I did in the past 3 days. I was sitting there, even last night, I was fired up. It's like, what? UConn, Dan Hurley, we got the psychopath versus Dusty, cool, calm, collected, calculated coach, big team in Michigan. UConn, they're there every year now under Hurley. It's like, we got some fireworks coming. I think I lasted maybe 8 minutes of game time before I started snoring and woke myself up on the couch. It's like, oh shit, I need to stick around here for a minute, at least get it to halftime. And it is kind of interesting that Michigan won that game. Statistically speaking, they played terrible. So it was kind of cool to see them grind it out. I thought they were the best team. I was Arizona all the way, but we saw how that just turned into a quick shellac, and they got taken to the woodshed. So I think all in all, we got a lot of the teams we wanted to in the Final Four, and they just did not deliver. So a little bit of a snooze fest. Happy for Michigan. I think Dusty deserves it too, and how he built that squad, taking Yaxel from a center at UAB to stretching the floor and becoming what looked like a natural forward in the NBA. So it was all right. Nothing great. I'm pissed at myself. I'm pissed at myself for not playing double team here. I know a lot of people that actually took UConn spread, Michigan money line, and won both. And 6.5 points was the perfect way to do that.
It was. It was, and it's funny how often the score of the game ends up right there on that number. Look, it was disappointing. It was a very anticipated Final Four. I think Illinois, UConn were maybe a little bit of surprises, but the way they were playing to get to the Final Four, and then you got the 2 1 seeds that are historically great teams on the other side. Koob, what did you make of what looked to be a good kind of Final Four bracket last Friday night, turning into what it turned into and kind of 3 snooze fests?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head with the snooze fest. And I think we all looked at the Arizona Michigan game as, hey, this is going to be kind of the national championship from that standpoint. It's going to be really close, really high scoring, all that. And that, to Marshall's point, right, that was a blowout pretty quickly. It was never really a game. And then the Illinois, UConn, 2 deserving teams to be in the Final Four, right? But you could kind of tell Hurley was, the last 2 times that he had been in the national championship, he's like, they're the big dog, right? They had all the players. They were favored to win. This, you kind of heard him in some of the timeouts, and you're like, we kind of got him in the only game that we can compete with them in. Like, if we go up and down with them, there's no chance that we can beat them. So we kind of have to make it a really ugly game, and they did that. And they had some chances to make it 1-2 possession game there at the end, but ultimately, like, Michigan just got buckets when they needed to, and they were just so massive, and there was just really nothing you could do. But overall, I'm glad it got close at the end to keep me interested, because otherwise, I think that's probably one of the worst Final Fours, in my opinion, that we've seen in a while, just from an excitement standpoint.
Yep. Justin, I know that on Saturday you were very generously giving me quite a bit of shit for betting the dork Eric Hill on he took Michigan, I took Arizona, and you seemed, fairly confident. I think even before the game tipped that Michigan was going to thump them. So it seems like you saw that type of game coming in the Michigan, maybe not quite that bad, but you saw some version of that game between Michigan and Arizona coming. I don't think I really got a true, prediction from you on the UConn Illinois game, but I think you were in the same boat as me yesterday, thinking Michigan was going to thump them, and they kind of did. Not really. UConn still covered. I know you were driving home last night back to Huntsville. What did you think just in general of the Final Four games, and was Michigan coming through fairly easily at the end? Kind of, am I reading that correctly? That's what you thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. The Final Four is kind of a stinker, but driving home last night, I had the game on the dash as I was driving safely, right? While
Smart.
the old lady was sleeping. So,
Insurance loves
um,
that.
yeah, so that was good. So I actually did watch a fair amount. I do think that UConn really did a good job of hanging in there for a little bit. I was surprised. I didn't think they were going to hang around that long. To be fair, though, kind of counter Max's point earlier, Yaxel was hurt. So, I mean, a healthy Yaxel was a different story. I thought Michigan kind of ran through the tournament and the bracket this year. I don't know why the hell I didn't pick them. Hindsight's 2020, but they just looked dominant every game they played. So, yeah, me giving you a little shit over that bet with the dork. I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be that
Well
big of a
deserved.
thumping. I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a thumping, but I
No
definitely
one
thought
did.
no. I arguably the best game was probably UConn Illinois in the Final Four. I mean, arguably.
Yeah, and even that one was like, I don't know,
I know it
kind of
wasn't
boring.
great. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Michigan deserved it. I'm not a big Michigan fan, but flowers were there deserved for sure. I mean, they did a great job of building that roster. I think I saw something, first national championship team with all 5 transfer starters. That's kind of the world we're in now. But
Yeah.
yeah, credit where credit's
Maybe the
due.
first. Maybe the first, but it won't be the last. And yeah, we'll move on fairly quickly. Just not a whole lot of good content to get out of that Final Four. I'm glad to see the Big Ten kind of get off the losing streak, really, and get a national championship that's been eluding them for 27 years now. So Michigan State back in 99, 2000, with Izzo, they were the last Big Ten team to win the national championship. Now you got Michigan 27 years later. Big Ten now has 3 straight football championships. They're off the basketball streak. This might be a new era of Big Ten dominance in both football and basketball. The Big Ten schools have a lot of money. They've got huge endowments. They've got very large fan bases that really give a shit. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Marsh, I know you're gonna scoff at that. You're gonna tell us how good the ACC is and everything, but
God,
you
no.
know,
But the best team in the country is in the ACC. The Miami Hurricanes, Darian Mensah, are probably just going to run the show. Let's
we're
talking
gonna
about
do
giving
plenty of
flowers.
we're gonna do plenty of college football preview content over the summer in the dog days. So I don't want to dive into all that tonight, especially because we got so much good Masters content to get to. And let's go ahead and get to it. It is Masters week, boys. It is the best golf week of the year, bar none. I would think most people are choosing Masters and Masters week as just the pinnacle of this sport. I know that even before I became a big golf fan, the Masters is the one I still cared. And I remember it was always around Easter, and I'd watch with my dad on spring break or with my grandpa at home, having them over for Easter dinner. And the Masters just has a special nostalgia and a special feel, I think, for everyone. It's the best week of the year. Coob, I know I mentioned off the top that, you have gone out of your way and really made a special deal of the weekend in several instances in the past, but just kind of tell us, what the Masters means to you, how you do Masters weekend, and we'll go around the circle from there.
First off, I mean, kind of a big deal. No Tiger or Phil for the first time in like more than 25 years, which is crazy to think about, right? So 2 staples of the Masters, which means we're getting old, which also kind of sucks. So, but yeah, I mean, especially living in Georgia now, the Masters kind of just is a different beast. Like, I was obviously a huge fan of the Masters and growing up with my dad, and he loved golf and got me into golf and all that kind of stuff. But like, throwing a Masters party here in Georgia is a big deal, right? And you have a ton of people that go to the Masters. Obviously, it's less than 2 hours from here. But yeah, we threw Luca's first birthday party. We did a Masters themed birthday, and we kind of went a little over the top to the point to where Tracy was like, "Hey, we're never fucking doing that again." Like, that was a little outrageous. So, poor Eva is getting her first birthday at like the local watering hole for her summer birthday. So the Masters is the best week of the year. And honestly, the fact that we get to go right from the NCAA tournament to the Masters just makes it even better, right? So yeah, really excited. There's a lot of storylines this week. Scotty just had a kid. You don't really know what kind of form he's going to be in, but always plays well there. And then you have the live noise with Bryson and Rahm and all that are right up there for the top of the odds. And so, yeah, I feel like for the first time, you just kind of have 20 to 25 guys that can really win it and that have been playing well, and guys that have been winning tournaments over the last, month and a half. So just really looking forward to it. And we're not throwing a party this year, but we'll probably go somewhere and watch it and have some fun as well.
All right. Yeah, we're going to get into all the guys and who we like, who we don't like, but it's awesome to me when I see the pictures and kind of the spectacle that you guys have made of it, and hosting in the past. Jussey, look, I know you're in Huntsville. It's not where you grew up. You're kind of growing a social network down there right now, but how do you like to do Masters weekend, and kind of what does this week represent and mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big week. I think more so probably in the last 15 years. I wasn't always into golf, but mid 2000s, I really got into it. And obviously high school too, like Marsh and NARD DAWG, you guys know, Ultra go to Siesta Key every year, right? So Masters would always be on. I still remember 2010, Phil hitting that shot through the tree on 13, putting it to 4 feet for birdie. That pretty much sealed the deal for that Masters. And then getting into golf myself, like this weekend is always marked on the calendar. I apply to get tickets every year, still have it. I'm gonna get my ass there at some point. You know, it's gotten so bad to the point where my fiance wants to go on and buy secondary market $4,000 tickets, and I'm like, we're not doing that yet. But no, huge week for me. I like you said, we're down in Huntsville. We'll probably go out to some bars, maybe get some beer here and there, but a lot of my weekend, probably late Saturday, Sunday, for sure is gonna be consumed on the sectional. Probably grill out a little bit, get some wings, dogs, burgers rolling, and just kind of chill and watch it, man. Really looking forward to it. So
Yeah, I feel like the Masters is a good tournament to watch the early coverage, maybe at a bar, tie a nice little buzz on, but then yeah, get home for when the that last 10 to 20 guys is kind of coming down the stretch. Because so much of the Masters is the visuals and the audio, right? Just hearing the sounds of Augusta and the roars, and it's a really unique tournament in that regard. So I think the best consumption of it personally is at home on the sectional as well. But Marsh, you may have a different opinion. I know you like to get out and exercise that wild hair a little bit from time to time. What will you be doing this weekend though?
Yeah. A lot of piss poor planning on my part, if we're gonna be honest. Currently getting siding redone on my house, so it sounds like I'm in the Iraq war right now, pretty much every second of the day. I have one of my best buds, Chris Bass. I have his rehearsal dinner Friday, wedding Saturday. My wife's out of town. I have 2 kids. It's probably gonna be the most miserable Masters weekend of my career, if we're gonna be totally honest. But having said that, one thing I won't be doing is fucking working on Thursday and Friday. I'm gonna be sitting here with my TV on. We're gonna have the Prime coverage. Amazon Prime now hosting the early bird special. Then we're gonna flip it over to ESPN Plus, maybe get quad screen going, and then finish it up with a little Scott Van Pelt in the afternoon, and really just kind of sink in as much as I can. Luckily, the in-laws will be here this weekend, so I can't just be a deadbeat dad and not and pay attention to my kids, but at the same time, I can do a little nudge here, man. Hey, you want to take care of that? Change that diaper, you know what I mean? A big hole coming up right here, big one. Yeah, big shot. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm gonna fit it in where I can and focus every free second that I have around the Masters this weekend.
Yep. No, look, I know life happens, man. It's not always prime conditions to sit and consume golf for 8 to 10 hours. Yeah, so where we'll go next is best moment, favorite memory from the Masters tournament. When you guys think of the Masters, what is that moment, that shot from any of these historical tournaments? What's one of those moments that really sticks out to you? And the first one that you think of when you think of Masters Week and the majesty and the pageantry that is the Masters. Marsh, I went to you last. Let's go to you first here.
Yeah, I think 2010, Jussey picked up on or touched on this originally. As a fellow left-hander, Coop can appreciate that. 2 lefties on 1 podcast. That's probably illegal, but we 2010, Phil Mickelson in the pine straw on number 13. You know, hits it to, I think he hit a 6-iron, hit it to about 15 feet. Ironically, missed the eagle putt, but made birdie, and that was the train that started for him to end up beating Ernie Els in that tournament when he was up 3, and then it looked like he was going to go down 3 at one point, and ultimately ended up winning. And then I think about Bubba Watson as well in 2012. That was probably the coolest shot I've ever seen, where he just hooded a 52-degree from the pine straw, hit an absolute sling hook, hits the green probably 30, 40 feet away, spins directly right to the pin to about 10 feet to beat Louis Oosthuizen in the playoff. Those are 2 big ones for me as a left-hander. Also, that's probably about as far back as my fried brain can remember at this point. So those were the big ones for me. And I mean, listen, I've watched so much Masters.
Yeah.
So it's just a good problem to have that I have so much golf memory in here that I don't know how to make any sense of it.
Well, neither do we, man. Justin, what about you, man? What's your kind of go-to moment memory from this tournament that stands out to you?
yeah, kind of touched on the Phil shot earlier. That was a big one growing into the game, and then um, I'd say after that, not so happy moment was probably Jordan Spieth on 12, right behind Max there. I mean, he went from a 5-stroke lead to a 3-shot deficit in one hole. He quadded 12, hit it at Rays Creek twice. I know he won another major after that, but I really think that kind of altered his career path. I mean, he was kind of the golden boy coming up.
For sure.
Masters was his tournament.
Yeah.
That was a huge moment in my lifetime for sure. And then I'd say Tiger. I mean, winning in 2019, that was just cool. I mean, hitting that shot on 16, Brooks is up on 17T, looking back, hearing all the noise, like just seeing him win a major. You know, I don't think his last one was 2008 before that. I mean, but you know, you always hear the game is better with Tiger in it. So that was definitely a huge, huge moment in my Masters story. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it. I mean,
No, that's a good answer. I mean, I think you could probably line up 100 guys like us, and you're
yeah,
going to get the same half dozen to a dozen answers from most, you know, casual to big golf fans. But Coob, you know, I am interested to hear your perspective on this one.
Get the
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's probably a Tiger, but see if you shock me here.
I think the default from my standpoint is the chip in on 16, right? That you see every Nike commercial, every commercial ever. But I mean, the Rory shot last year that he hit on 15 was unbelievable, considering the stakes, right? It was
It
just
was.
to sling in a 230-yard iron around a tree, right, to a green that's just water in the front and everything, when just a tournament that has just escaped him so much in his career, was pretty awesome to see, right? And I'm not the biggest Rory guy by any means, but to see him like conquer that, and you could kind of just tell like the weight off his shoulders after he won that playoff against Justin Rose. Like to be able to hit that and to have the stones to hit that in that moment is fucking unbelievable. Or any nerd like us trying to hit that shot, right? We just look like morons out there. The Tiger memory, you know, the big one of him coming back and getting that 15th major was pretty unreal. Fun fact about that, Tracy was on the 18th green for that. Is in a ton of pictures with him in the backgrounds. But yeah, man, there's some memories and there'll be new ones made this year. So
For
Hey,
sure.
Coob,
Seems like
Coob,
every year.
Coob, kind of going into what you were saying, you know, that shot with Rory, it's kind of crazy because it's such a fresh shot that like it's hard for me to kind of put that up there, but that will ultimately be probably a top shot in
Yeah.
Masters history at one point. And hitting that 7-iron, you're saying had the balls to do that. Phil Mickelson shot, the Bubba shot. Some of these shots, you got to have the balls to win this tournament. You really do got to make those
100%.
shots. And it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, go ahead.
With the slam on the line for Rory too.
yeah, slam, and then like the way that he's melted down a few times at that tournament too, right? You're just like, for him to be able to go out and do that is just to have the ability to just erase that from your memory and just be like, I am the best golfer on the planet or one of the best golfers on the planet, and just hit the shot, trust it, right? And then just go win the tournament. It was pretty cool to see.
Well, he kind of melted down last year, even in his win, right? He missed what, like a 5-6 footer. I mean, Rory. It was good to see him get off the bench and win that and kind of complete that career grand slam, because it was time. He's been so good and he's been in contention enough that he needed to get it done, and he did last year. For me, the moment that sticks out to me is Phil's first win. I think I was either a sophomore or junior in high school. I remember specifically watching it at the condo at the Palm Bay Club in Siesta Key. My dad is drunk as a skunk on Easter Sunday. But I've got this memory of him holding this coconut and he started eating the coconut and stuff. And I mean, he was buckled, but we were both rooting hard for Phil. And when Phil makes that putt, birdies 18 and clinches his first major, the Masters, and does that goofy little 2-foot jump up in the air. It was just an unbelievably cool moment. When I think of Masters, that is like his little jump and the crowd going bananas is what
Get him to the
jumps out to
combine.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most athletic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's those type of memories that make the tournament so special. Now, you know, regarding how special it is, would you guys consider or would you say that some of the recent trend and inclusivity of women and minorities has kind of caused you to lose some of the luster for this tournament?
What do you mean?
That's a joke.
Oh,
No, it's a joke.
I mean, I did
Not
watch
trying
the
to get us
drive.
canceled.
I did watch the drive, chip, and putt the other day, which was electric watching these kids that are better at golf than me at 10 years old. And Condoleezza Rice was shaking everybody's hand with the Masters jacket on. So you threw me for a little bit of a loop there, but yeah, I get where you're going. A little bit of
I kind of butchered the execution of it. I
It was like as a new time guest on the show, I was like, I'm not going to be the one to answer this one.
Yeah.
my role
let's
is to
get
fall on the sword.
super
Yeah.
politically charged right
Yeah.
before we get to the picks. Yeah, there's a million different memories and moments. Not a million, but there's a dozen to 2 dozen that, depending on where you were and who you were watching them with, and what the circumstances are and who you root for. There's a handful of different moments that could be picked, and one of the things that I have always thought about and wanted to ask a panel of bigger golf fans than I am is, I go back and forth on what my favorite hole is to watch and kind of what I get most excited to see throughout the tournament. But in general, I'd love to know from your guys' perspective, what hole over the years has been kind of your favorite to see guys challenged on. Coob, let's go to you first this time.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I also think it depends on the day because you kind of know where the pin placements are. Almost like it gives you anxiety, but that the tee shot on number 12 on Sunday, that's kind of a make or break, right? It's 140, 135 yard.
Right over Marsh's right shoulder.
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Number 12.
Right. And
Yep.
it's just, it's so iconic, right? With the bridge, all the azaleas in the background, just picturesque and on paper, just such a simple shot, but just guys win and lose a tournament on that hole. You're kind of just holding your breath on Sundays if someone's going in a few shots ahead, right? You go back to the Molinari stuff when Tiger won, you go back to the Spieth shots when he lost it. And then I've always loved 13 as well. I think so much can happen on 13. You talk about the Phil shot, you can make a 3 or you can make a 7. And so I would say those two are probably the two consecutively that I get excited to watch the most on Sundays.
Yep. Yeah, 12 is it's such a gorgeous hole. It's probably the most picturesque hole out there. I've always thought that tee box is so weird, the way it's set up. Am I off base with that, or is that just like an exceptionally kind of awkward tee box? Like there's nothing around it. It just seems like it's like a tee box in the middle of a field, like
Yes.
a meadow. Yeah.
It looks like they put it right in the middle of a football field.
Yeah. But it's cool because the angle you get from like up high and, kind of looking down into the hole is really cool. Jussey, what's your favorite hole? What do you like to see the guys play?
Yeah, I'm sure all four of us probably would say Amen Corner. Branching outside of that a little bit, I really like 15. Long par 5. You got to hit a good one. It's the shot that Rory hit behind the trees last year, 7-iron 220. Your approach shot, if you don't get it down there far enough, or if you're blocked out to the left or right, you got to hit it over that creek. That green is not receptive. It is a small, narrow green. Hit it long. You got a really hard chip back to the water. It's just a fun hole to watch people either thrive or dive on. And another one that I really like that probably people don't think about as much because it's on the front 9 is number 3. It's a shorter par 4. Depending on where the tees are, you can get some of those meatheads like Bryson trying to drive it. It's a fun one to watch how people approach that hole. You lay up, you got a really uphill chip. It's a hard hole for as short as it is, but I think that's a fun one because guys can either get off to a good start there, or they can really kind of dig themselves in a hole. Those are my two kind of outside of Amen Corner that I really, really enjoy.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but 15 is the last par 5, right?
It is.
It's a last eagle opportunity. So on Sunday, that's where you really see the desperation and guys really start to roll the dice. So I think that's a really good answer. Marsh, interested to hear where you go on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a buffoon not to throw 12 in there. My grandfather painted that for me. It's probably my favorite nostalgic piece of anything that I have. But to Coop's point, Golden Bell, number 12, 155-yard shot seems so simple, and it just becomes a knee crippler when the moment's big and everything's on the line. But Justin kind of stole my thunder with 15, Firethorn. Love 15. Love the name Firethorn. But the par fives in general, 13 and 15, I think are really where everything goes down, right? Like you have Rays Creek that runs through the front of 13, where everyone sees this green and it just slopes down just like number 12 does. It's a straight slope right into the water. 15, you've got more of just a back to front slope. So the cool part about that is people can go for it, but if it bounces, which it's going to be firm this week, and it goes long, you've got water deep right next to the tee box on 16. You've got water short if you overspin. There's just so much that comes into those par fives at 13 and 15. I think those are the most fun to watch because you have guys that are going to play it safe. You have guys that are going to be aggressive, especially when you get into Sunday and you have to be aggressive in some instances. We see some incredible shots. Listen, no golf course has slope like Augusta. It is the hilliest freaking place. The greens are all like glass and they are sloped one way or another. So, you could see a chip shot on 15, not a chip shot, a sand shot from the bunker, and it could just roll right into the water. I mean, there's just so much nuance to Augusta, but I think those two par fives are really what do it, and that's where the electricity starts to amp up on Sunday.
Marsh, you're kind of talking about the elevation changes, but everyone always says who's actually been to Augusta. TV does no justice with how the elevation is actually changing. You can't really get a true feel for that. And, you go walk those grounds and it's a workout, walking up and down the hills constantly. I feel like TV doesn't capture that some people
Not at
who
all.
don't know much about golf don't appreciate. So,
Yeah. You don't see the undulation that they feel, right, when they walk it and see it, but they do such a good job of making it the greenest fucking golf course your TV will ever put on. It's like having a green lava lamp on in the middle of the living room. It's just so pristine, and I love it. I freaking don't get me started on grass. We'll be here in a little crank sesh, but I'm fired up. I think it's
Christ.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me
Go ahead.
throw a curveball at you guys. We were talking about which ones you'd want to play, but I'm going to throw something at you that I think is a little bit more interesting now, and I didn't prep you for this, so take a moment to think about it if you'd like. But let's say that I'm a multi-billionaire. I just want to have a little fun, and I get access to the course first thing Monday morning. Still going to play, the exact same as it was Sunday afternoon. They're not moving the pins. Everything's the exact same as the guys coming down the stretch Sunday. I'm going to put $500,000 on the line if you birdie. I'm going to put $100,000 on the line if you par. Which hole are you teeing it up on to go after that money?
isn't that
13 for me,
so? You
or
got the
16, one or the
you got-
other. I'm a left-hander. I play a fade. 13 having a little bit of a dog leg left, plus it's a par five, more room for me to fuck it up. And 16 having the slope, I would say that would be more beneficial if it was day 3 pin placement at the bottom of that hill, because I would try to use the slope to come down. It's a little bit more difficult for me on Sunday. So probably 13 just to give me a little more room for error, suit my shot shape a little bit. I'm probably still going to triple though.
Fair enough. Coob, do you have an answer? Because you're probably a good enough golfer that, like, on one of these par threes, I would think that you could probably put it close enough to get a makeable putt. But I don't know if maybe it's not a super long course either. So I don't know if you go more like a par five.
Yeah, I mean, I think the length for Augusta, right, that's not the big problem, right? The big problem is around the green. You think about 2, that's a par 5, right? That you're pretty much going down the hill, and at worst, you're probably having a 70-yard wedge into the green, so you'll probably have a pretty good chance, but that green is diabolical, right? I would say, probably to echo Marsh, 13 is probably the best option, right?
Yep.
It's 500 yards. If you get a good tee shot, you're going for it in 2. Probably gives you the best opportunity. I mean, the par threes are tough, but like you said, right, if you're on the wrong part of the green, then you're completely screwed, right? So, yeah, it's a great question. I'd never really thought about it, but yeah,
That's what we do on this podcast, buddy.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
ask
this is
we ask the
innovation.
hard hitting questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Jussey,
I kind of agree with Coob. I do like number 2. I think that would be probably my best choice to score a birdie. What about number 7? It's the other par 5 on the front. It's
Eight.
long.
Nah,
It's 8.
yeah,
8 straight away. I think that one would be gettable too. The only problem there would be your blind approach or blind second. So I'd say 2 probably. It seems a lot wider off the tee once you get it through that chute, and you just got to make a good shot at the green and get it up there and
Yeah.
close.
Pink Dogwood, beautiful name.
I think 8 all depends on your tee shot, right? Because if you're in that bunker, then you're completely
Sure,
screwed off
yeah.
the tee, right? It's a massive bunker. And 8 might be a little bit tougher because it's like kind of straight uphill. But if you hit a good tee shot, you can feed it all into there. But yeah, I'm not a good enough golfer to be convinced myself that I could birdie any of those holes.
well, as the worst golfer on the podcast, I would just have to choose whatever the easiest par 3 is. Try to throw a dart and get lucky. I need to reduce my exposure with how many shots I'd have. I can hit the ball up in the air. I can potentially just get lucky and hit a good shot and maybe have a makeable putt. But yeah, I mean, nothing par 4, par 5 would even be in consideration for me.
Yeah, shortest par 3 is Golden Bell, number 12, 155 yards. And I've got that 500K you talked about. I'm wagering on you going straight in the drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the pros do it. I mean, there's a high chance I would too.
When I didn't think about, guys, was 9. There's a lot of birdies on 9 from
Carolina
these guys.
Cherry.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit it,
do you know all the names?
Yeah, I was gonna say we need to do a flyover with Marsh, saying all the names, the flyover at the end of this podcast.
Yeah. Well, he's known as Marsh Kuiper during football season, and he's known as Marsh Nance during golf season. So
That's right. I'm just an epic wizard when it comes to these sports.
That's why you're the featured co-host on the Nardog Sports Show, man.
Hey, wouldn't have it any other way.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. No, that was good. I'm glad we kind of pivoted over to what hole do you think you could play the best?
Can I ask one more question on that note?
Yeah, go for it.
Would you rather play Augusta one time or have Berkman's Place tickets for every year the rest of your life? So Berkman's Place, I don't know if you know this, Casey, but it's like your all exclusive, like custom experience for the Masters where it's literally a green, it's like a custom green made by the Masters that you can putt on. They fit you for a putter. They do all this stuff. And then you walk right onto like the 11th tee box from there.
Well, I would rather do that one year than play once. So like, that's an easy answer for me. I would take the Berkman for the rest of my life. I would take it for 3 years, 5 years. I would literally take it instead of playing. Like I'll just go out there and just hack it around and get like, this is a waste, me getting to play this. So no, I would take the Berkman's Club. But what about you guys? You guys all enjoy playing golf, play a lot more golf than I do.
Berkman's all day for the rest of my life. Love playing golf, but Berkman's every year, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, I think I'm on that train too. My golf game is so shit right now that I would just go be a detriment to the turf out there. And I think getting drunk and getting a custom fitted putter and being able to walk the grounds on an annual basis sounds pretty freaking awesome to me.
Well, then what would the number be for you to choose the play? Like, would it be you get 3 Berkman's experiences, or you get 5? Like, what's that cutoff where you would choose?
If it was
play?
1-to-1, I would choose to play just for the memory of and saying I could do that. Right, you're part of an exclusive club, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the big thing. But you're talking a recurrence of me getting to attend the Masters every year, getting a custom putter, all that good jazz. Like that's just a numbers game at that point.
Yeah, I might be crazy, but I'm taking the one round.
Are
I knew
you?
you would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, it'd be a once in a lifetime experience, and For people who really love playing golf, it's the Taj Mahal. It's the number one golf course on every single golfer's list in the entire world, right? I can't blame you, Coob, but I think that's a bananas answer when you could go party and do the whole Masters weekend. All right, well, let's kind of segue. Kind of a last preference type of question and dream scenario type thing, but it really kind of goes into this weekend and what our thoughts are and what our takes are about the players for this weekend. Let's say you guys are you get to kind of hand pick the final four guys that are teeing off on Sunday, and let's say the two teeing off last are at 10 under, and the two teeing off at right in front of them are 9 under. So it's neck and neck, and it's going to come down to these four and who executes the best on Sunday. What four golfers in your dream scenario would you like to see be in that dead heat on Sunday? Jussey, I don't think I've come to you first yet, so let's go to you first on this one.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't know. That's a tough question. Thinking about this, like last year was Bryson and Rory in the final round. I'd still love to see that again, to be honest with you. Just see if Bryson could get a little revenge on that whole situation. So I'd definitely say those two is my final two, and probably Spieth, and probably Scotty next two back, because you know how Scotty is chasing people down, and when you're ahead of Scotty, you know you're not too far ahead of Scotty. So I think that would be an awesome Sunday finish at the Masters.
Yeah. See, I like Scotty a lot. He's just unbelievable. And yeah, especially early this year when he was putting himself in a giant hole on Thursday and Friday and then just making an incredible charge late Saturday into Sunday. Like he's insanely just cool and calm under that pressure of Sunday and making big shots to kind of try to play catch up. He just doesn't have that fiery personality that, you'd want to see create sparks and create fireworks on a Sunday. He would add to the drama for sure because of how good he is, and he's not going to fold under pressure. But Coob, let's go to you next.
Yeah, I think the top four guys, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see the best golfers come down to the last few holes. I think the dynamic with like Bryson and Rahm with Liv, right? That whole thing, having those guys around, and then the season that Scotty has had has been really interesting because he's had 3 incredible rounds every tournament, but his first round's been so bad that it's almost, unless he shoots 62, there's no chance he's going to be able to win the tournament. When he'll shoot 64 and he'll be 4th or 5th place. When it comes to the Masters, you want to see those guys that have green jackets, and you want to see him in the hunt. So default Scotty, and I think Spieth is a really good answer just because he hasn't really played well in a major in a really long time. And so just seeing one of those other guys like Spieth or Justin Thomas in the hunt at the end of the tournament would be great. I like the whole dynamic with Liv when it comes to 6 or 9 holes, just to see what happens, because they just haven't really been able to get it done outside of Bryson and
Fair enough. I don't think that's a bad answer at all. Marsh?
Everybody snaked my Spieth pick. I thought that was going to be sneaky sexy, but for me, final pairing, Bryson versus Brooks, I think would be epic. The whole storyline, you guys have touched on the Liv PGA stuff, but Brooks leaving Liv, coming back to PGA, being the first one to do it. If he was able to actually take home the green jacket, the shitstorm that creates, and in the media and all these guys, your Patrick Reeds of the world who went to the DP World Tour is kind of a, hey, I'm going to go here to open the door back to possibly coming to PGA. You've heard Rahm talk about it as well. I think these guys want to come back. I think they're tired of the dog and pony clown circus that Liv is. So having the firepower of Brooks Bryson in that final pairing would be awesome. If Bryson got a green jacket, that'd be sweet. We start to get into that storyline of like, we have so many guys that have won multiple majors in our lifetime and in this prime right now, which would be cool. But then we get to the penultimate pairing, and I had Spieth in there because I would love nothing more than Spieth to become relevant again too. And he's been playing well. His putting has actually been the thing that's cost him, which is shocking. He's actually striping the ball right now, but nobody knows the greens better than Jordan Spieth at Augusta. So I think the putter might heat up. I think he might get into it. And if he wins another one and all of a sudden he's back in the conversation of top golfer, and I put the fourth one, I kind of waffled on this a little bit, but I put Cam Young. And Cam Young is not a sexy pick because he is the most boring person you'll ever see on a golf course. Never high, never low. But boy, does that man hit the golf ball. Like, he just absolute bombs it. He's so good. His ball striking is incredible. He basically became Captain America for us in the Ryder Cup. He was the only one that was worth a shit. And the fact that he's coming fresh off a Players win, winning the Players and the Masters in the same year, all of a sudden he vaults into the conversation of the Rorys, the Scotties, all the other great golfers. So those were my four. You could throw 20 names in there and make it amazing. But I think the storylines where those fall are going to be interesting.
I like Cam Young. I didn't really consider him just for the reasons you mentioned, and that he's just not, he hasn't been super polarizing from a personality or entertainment standpoint on the course, kind of, in the same vein as Scotty. I'm going to give my four quick. I'm with you on the final pairing being Brooks and Bryson. Neither has a green jacket. I know they've buried the hatchet some, but they used to have that fairly big rivalry, and I just think that would be awesome. I like the dynamic of chasing your first, and Rahm has one, Scotty has one, two, Rory has one now. So I'm going to put four guys. So give me Brooks and Bryson in the final pairing, and then the penultimate pairing, I would give me Justin Thomas and give me Ludwig Oberg. I liked watching that guy play. I think he's starting to show more personality, kind of fiery personality. And Justin Thomas, like, he gets real emotional and a little spazzy, and I like that. I'm not the biggest Justin Thomas fan, I like in terms of rooting for him, but I like when he's in the mix, and I kind of like when he fucks up down the stretch and kind of loses it on himself or his caddy or someone in the crowd. I think that's hilarious. So I'll take Justin Thomas and Ludwig as my final two. Let's go into our picks. So the way that we're going to do this is I sent out kind of a structure and a picks card for everyone to make some picks. I did leave some flexibility in terms of, you can pick two winners. One can be anyone at the top of the list, whatever you want to go with it. Try to pick one of your winners as what kind of a sleeper, someone outside the top 10 guys on the odds board. We're going to choose four of our favorite placement picks for the top 5, top 10, top 20 pools. So all of those different betting options. We're going to take a round 1 leader, a round 2 leader, a top 40 pick. So someone a little bit deeper on the odds board, a deep sleeper who we kind of like and would put on a top 40 type of card, and then someone to miss the cut. So someone, and there was limited options. I think only about half to a third of the field was listed, but that's going to be our picks cards. I think the way that we'll do it is we'll kind of go category by category. So let's start with our winner picks right off the top. I'm going to start with Coob this time. Coob, who did you have as your two guys that you would put? We're just going to say everyone's putting $100 on each of these picks. Who would you put 100 on for your two guys to win the tournament this week?
Yeah, I think Marsh kind of touched on it, and you could argue that he's probably playing the best golf of anyone in the world right now, and that's Cam Young. To be able to get him at 2,400 from that standpoint of a guy that just won the biggest tournament outside of a major. He kind of just had a resurgence from the Ryder Cup and he figured out a way to win. And I think he just has a ton of momentum coming into this week. From a long shot perspective, I took a fellow lefty. I took Bobby Mack. He's just always around in the top 10. He putts the ball really, really well. Could have won the tournament last week. JJ Spawn had an unreal final round. I just love his demeanor. I just think he's a guy that you just go have 8 pints of Guinness with after a round, and he's just himself. Getting those odds at 3,700 is pretty good odds as well.
Is it unfair that I kind of think of Mac as kind of the European Fatty Patty? He's just like kind of I know he's much better liked, but just
Yeah.
kind of the body style and just kind of goofy and
Physically,
He's fiery.
very
He's fiery as hell.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally, there are certainly some parallels.
Yeah. He's definitely not built like your typical specimen. That's for sure. So,
No, he's got cigs and a scotch written all over him post round.
yeah. Like I said, that's the kind of guy I want to party with after a round, but he's striking the ball really well too, so I'll take him.
Yep. Justin, who were your winner picks?
So my first one was Bryson, had 1075. Since 2015, there hasn't been a Masters winner outside of. There's been 2 Masters winners outside of the top 12 in the official world golf rankings, and that's Patrick Reed and Hideki. They're 24 and 25. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think that the top 10, top 12 guys are stacked. I think it's still going to be one of those guys. So I'm going with Bryson for that one at 1075. And then I'd say my quote unquote dark horse would be the guy you're just talking about, Fatty Patty at 4,400. He knows the course well. He's won there. He's hot this year so far on the DP World Tour. He's already won twice. He's playing good golf. He's trying to get back on the PGA Tour. He's really motivated to go out and make some noise this year. I think those are pretty good odds. So that's what I'd roll with.
I like it. Max?
Yeah, I just changed mine literally just now.
Great.
I didn't like it. It wasn't really where I was, but Xander at plus 1800. I think that's insane value for him. He's playing so good. He's got an absolutely incredible record at Augusta. He's top 10 every year. He was on a very much slump, if you will, in the beginning of the year. He started to turn it on. It's 2 straight top 5s, and he knows the course very well, which is extremely important here. So I do like Xander. I just think from a value perspective, sure, I'm not going to bet somebody that's 5-1 like Scotty. That's a waste of my time. But the second one, Justin Rose, baby. Rosie. I watched Rosie at Torrey Pines put on an absolute clinic that he looked like he was 24 years old. And he's finished second, it feels like 55 times. Like, if he is on, he's going to absolutely be a threat here. And at 35-1, sign me up.
I love that pick.
Good picks.
Yep.
Good picks. So for my winner picks, I went with Ludwig Oberg. I'm going to be rooting for him. He's been playing
Ultimate
some really
gagger.
good golf.
Yeah,
He has been
choking like crazy.
He has been, but that's what they said. That's what they've said about people like Rory at the Masters, right? They've said that about a lot of golfers. They said that about Phil until he won, and then he won 3 times here at Augusta. That he was a gagger in the biggest moments, and then he wasn't all of a sudden. So, but. Look, I think Ludwig at 17-1 is what he's listed at on the sheet. I'll take 17-1. I think if he gets hot and he's putting the ball well, I think he's got the approach game and just the complete game to get a win here. And then I like Akshay Bhatia. He's been playing incredible golf this year. He has not fared well in major golf tournaments. I saw that he's only got 1 top 30 finish and 9 major starts, which is concerning, obviously. Like we were just talking about with Ludwig, you don't break through until you do break through. He got 3rd at the Waste Management Open. He got 6th at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, 16th at the Genesis, won the Arnold Palmer, and then 13th at the Players. He's just consistently up there and in contention or winning the thing. In the case of the Arnold Palmers, I think he's a lefty. This course plays well to lefties. I think he can be in the mix on Sunday.
100%. Love Akshay Bhatia. Like you said, lefty. He can shape the ball, which is important at Augusta. He's been putting incredibly this year compared to previous seasons. So I love that pick at 57-1.
You guys were talking about the drive, chip, and putt. Akshay's won that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I love that pick too, Nard. I was really thinking about that. But you know what I love more than anything for Akshay Bhatia? I love his caddy, Joe Griner. I think that is such a good team together.
I know nothing about it.
He left.
I do too.
Him and Morikawa were together, and then they kind of split up. And then I think he went to Max Homa or something for a couple weeks, and ended up landing with Akshay. And I feel like ever since he's been on the bag for Akshay, it's just been a completely different Akshay.
Yeah. People forget that Ludwig was tied for the lead with like 3 holes last year left and had
Yep.
one blow up hole. I was looking back on like his in contention like last 2 rounds, weekend rounds, and it was
Fell
like,
apart.
well, it was really weird because the Players was obviously the one
Terrible.
that's the one that's pretty much as bad as you can get. You look at this past weekend and he played well, but it was just kind of average on the weekend. It wasn't enough to win a tournament. And so it is fun to watch him play because he makes it look so effortless. And you really just feel like he's just one of those guys that just needs one breakthrough and he could just win a bunch of fucking golf tournaments.
Oh yeah, he is like when I think of his swing, no homo, but like he's like the big sexy, like just
Oh yeah.
this huge dude with the smoothest, butteriest swing and hits the ball a quarter mile. But everything is like perfectly on plane. Nard can't wait for me to shove a sock right down my throat after he wins. So
Ludwig. I get the criticism, and he hasn't finished well, obviously, this year. But he made his debut at Augusta in 2024. He was runner up that year. Last year, 2025, he had a lead like late on Sunday. He was in the lead, fell apart, and which is goes back to that narrative, but he ended up with a 7th. So he's played here twice. He's got a 2nd and a 7th. If he puts it together, just finish 5-6 holes on Sunday, he could win this thing. He's good enough to do it. I think he's one of the handful of guys that like go up against Scotty or Rory or Rahm's best, and his best can match those guys when he's on. Let's do our picks let's do it in reverse, or kind of like a snake draft type order. So I'll start. Let's do miscut. I took Brooks. I mean, the guy can't putt. In his 6 starts this season back on the PGA Tour, he's gained, or I guess it would be lost, 2 strokes per start in putting. You got to be able to putt at Augusta. Look, would I bet a ton of money that he's not going to make the cut? No, but if we got to pick someone from that pool that was offered, I think he's got as good a shot as any to miss the cut this week. Marsh, back to you.
yeah, I actually put Justin Thomas, and it's really just he's so sporadic. He's either on and he is absolutely dangerous, or he is just shaking the ball everywhere and in his own head, and then it blows up quick. So I'm kind of betting on the latter in this instance. I hate doing it because I'd love to see JT in the hunt, but plus 200, not the sexiest pick in the world, but I could see him. I could see him kind of blowing up and getting frustrated. So I went with him.
Justin?
Yeah, I don't hate the pick, Max. He's coming off that back injury too. I went with Cam Smith. He's just been non-existent ever since he won that Open. He's going to run out of his opportunities if he doesn't start winning again. I really could see him missing the cut this week and no one even really caring or talking about it. So
Yeah, it's sad from his. I used to love watching him play because I just thought he was so good. And I think once he won that Open, there were rumblings about Live. I think once he went to Live, he was just like, yeah, it's fine. Like I made $100 million. I don't really need to care about golf anymore.
Packed it in.
I'm taking Morikawa. I don't think it's about the fitness of golf. I think it's more about just the back injury. I think all of us have probably had a back injury at some point in our life, and it's really hard to play golf with a lingering back. And I saw something today that they were showing his range session, and I think his furthest drive that I think he hit like 50 balls, and his furthest drive that he hit was like 275 yards. And really the gist of it was they're like, you can tell that he's extremely limited right now.
Yeah.
And so might he be able to put it together for a few rounds? Maybe, but just the way that, we talked about it earlier, but the slope of the course, all the walking, and then all the swings on your back, it's just, I think it'd be a miracle for him to get through, 4 rounds of playing in this tournament.
Not to mention the swings from different angles, right? How many like you never have a flat lie at Augusta. It's either below your feet, above your feet. You're doing adjust, so you're putting stress on all levels of your back.
Yeah.
All right, we did Coob gave his pick. So let's go to round 1, round 2 leaders. These are kind of throwing shit against the wall. It's a much smaller sample size. You're who comes out hot right out of the gates. But Coob, on the round 1, round 2 leaders, I remember, thinking your picks were not ones that I would have penciled in for you. But interested to hear your rationale on your guys that you have slotted in that part of the picks card.
Yeah. My first one is Sam Burns, and for a few odd reasons. And he hasn't fared very well at Augusta because he's not the strongest iron player, which is, you have to hit good irons, because if you're the greatest putter on earth, which he is, you got to be on the right levels of the green. If you're an elite putter and you're putting from 40 feet away at Augusta, then that's not really going to do much for you. But I just feel like he's a guy that if he can just get some momentum and get it going, then he can just rattle off 4 or 5 birdies pretty quickly. I thought I'd take a flyer on him. My second one is Corey Connors. Corey Connors, every once in a while for a tournament or a major, he just fires up a first round 66, and you're like, all right. And then he just makes it to the weekend, and he gets 5th or 6th place in a big tournament and takes his money and goes home. He's a guy that just plays super consistent and is never really out of it, just never really good enough to win it. So those are my 2.
Corey Connors, the old stripe show.
Justin, back to you. Who do you like in the round 1, round 2 picks?
I like Shane Lowry for the first round leader. I think he's got a history of starting pretty quick. He does well at Augusta. He's played pretty strong to start the season too. Just hasn't been able to close. And then I really liked Marsh's Xander pick this week. I have him for second round leader. I could definitely see him being in contention during the weekend.
I like that. I'm kind of thinking, we've heard Shane Lowry, we've heard Patty Reed, we've heard McIntyre. I might just have to do like a fat boy special, like top 20 parlay, and just get the beer drinking man titties. That would just be fun to root for. But I think first round leader, I went with Siwoo Kim. Big Siwoo guy. He is absolutely putting on a clinic with ball striking this year. I think he's led multiple tournaments in proximity to the hole, and it's when he's on, and the putter has always been the problem for him. But I'm banking on the fact that he's got some experience here. He may get the putter to wake up a little bit, or he may just put it to 10 feet enough times where he can go fire off that 65, 66 and just have a day. Don't expect to see him really in the hunt per se on Sunday, but I think first round, no pressure, just go out there, swing loose. I like Siwoo. Second round leader, put Bryson. I mean, Bryson's going to be in the hunt. He's had some stuff to figure out from a science perspective. He's working on his irons are a little bit more spinny based on how they're designed and how it interacts with the turf at Augusta into the grain. When it gets over the tree canopy, starts to get impacted by the wind. He said, what I'm trying to learn a lot this year is how the wind impacts, where it is historically, what it's forecasted, but also when I'm into the grain, I get a little bit more of a spinny lie, how that interacts with the wind. We're starting to get into that, whole meme with the Hangover and Zach Galifianakis, but I kind of love it because if you're that minute on your strategy, I feel like you're going to execute and be in the hunt. So I think Bryson, he's got a couple, maybe 68, 60, 67, 68 in the bag Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday to get him in that second round pole position.
Cool. I am going to take, for the round 1 leader, I'm going to take Justin Rose. Do you guys know how many times Justin Rose has led at the first round of the Masters in his career?
I remember they talked about it last year, but like 3 or 4.
He broke Jack Nicklaus's record. He's led at the first round of the Masters 5 times. And that's not just a coincidence in this tournament. There's something about the pin placement. There's something about the course layout on that first day of the tournament that he just plays very well, knows how to play this, that version of the course. So he's 35-1. It's kind of a simpleton pick. He's literally the record holder for most first round leader wins in history. Could he do it again? Sure. He's playing pretty good golf. He won the Farmers Insurance Open to start the year. It's not a coincidence that he's already done it 5 times over the course of his career. Show up, get hot, do it again. So he's my round 1 leader. And then I had Morikawa in my round two. I have him still on the sheet, but I'm switching off him. Coob, I did not watch Morikawa on the driving range today, so I'm going to switch to Hideki. I didn't have Hideki anywhere on my card yet, and I just think that guy, he's playing great golf. But I'm gonna take Hideki to be the round two leader, guy on top of the leaderboard heading into the weekend. 37-1. I switched on the fly. It was just more, I want to have something on Hideki and him getting off to a good start, so I'm going to go there. And then I will run through the rest of my picks real quick on the snake back around. I'm going to take Woodland top 20. He's going to replace the Morikawa bet I had on there as a top 5. I'm going to take Woodland. Just won the Houston Open. What a cool fucking story. I just want to root for that guy.
Awesome.
So get in the top 20. It's plus 265. I'm going to take Pat Reed to get top 5. He is plus 820 to do so. I know not many people are a big fan of him. I like that he kind of embraces the villain role, and someone alluded to it earlier. He knows this course. He's won here. He's playing well on the DP World Tour. Can he be in the top 5? I think he can be. Give me him at plus 820. Give me the European Patty Reed, Bob McIntyre to finish top 10. Putts the ball well, drives the ball well. Last 3 majors, he finished runner-up at the U.S. Open at Oakmont last year. Then he was 7th at the Open Championship last year. And then he was just 4th at the Players, which I guess is not a major. But the kind of the 5th major. But the last 3 monster tournaments that he's played in, he's got a 2nd, a 7th, and a 4th. He shows up in the big moments, or at least he has been over the last 12 months. So I like Bob McIntyre to get a top 10 finish here. And then JT, I put him in my dream Final Four. I like JT. I want to see him in the mix. He got 2nd at the Players, so I think he showed he's capable of putting some good golf together again. He would be plus 460 to get in the top 10, and that's my and then I got Dustin Johnson. We picked someone in the kind of the bottom quarter of the odds board. DJ's one here. I just didn't really know too much about the other guys. I will take Dustin Johnson to finish top 40 at plus 125, and that is my card. Let's go back to Max to run through the rest of his.
Yeah, I'm pretty chalky here. I went really with a common theme of ball striking, experience at Augusta, and current form. Essentially, I think those are really the 3 pillars to being successful at Augusta. So I also had Pat Reed top 5. I think 8-1 is just kind of sexy. The guy's an absolute wizard around the greens, and he's playing really well right now. So I think Fat Pat could definitely shock some people and be in the mix on Sunday. Matt Fitzpatrick, I did top 10 at plus 225. That guy is red hot right now. He is striping the ball. He is putting lights out. His game, he probably got the most complete form out of anyone on tour right now. I'll probably bet him a couple of different ways, but for this sake, top 10. And then 2 top 20s. They're top 20 machines at Augusta. Tommy Fleetwood plus 118, Hideki Matsuyama plus 122. Shitty odds, but it's honestly safe money. These guys are always in the mix, always in the top 20. Hideki, he's played this tournament like 9 times, and he's been top 25 7 out of 9 times, something around there. Tommy Fleetwood, he's the classic 2nd, 3rd, 4th place going into Sunday and finishes top 10. So then lastly, the top 40 pick, not sexy, but Max Homa minus 104. He played really well here last year, and it was the same scenario where he was playing kind of shitty golf and found his form, ironically, at Augusta. I'm banking on the same thing happening this year.
I like your Fitzpatrick pick. I was listening to Dan Rappaport, who's like one of Fitzpatrick's best friends. He's just like, what Fitzpatrick's strengths have been in the past is putting. He's like, he's not putting well, but he's striping the ball completely well. He's playing well around the greens. If he can get his putting going, I think it's a great pick to take him out. I think he's like, he's won a major. I think if he can just get his putter rolling just a little bit, then he can make a lot of birdies.
100%. Putter's going to wake up. He's seen Augusta plenty of times. He's had some decent success here. I think he's an
I took 2 chalk and then 2 kind of outliers. Took Xander top 5. I just think he's like a shoe-in for top 10. So he just seems to always be around on Sundays. I think he's in really good form. I think especially now with like some unknowns with Scotty he hasn't played much golf. He just had a kid. You could argue that Xander's the second best golfer getting ready to tee it up, right? So I took Xander top 5 plus 3. I got Hideki at, I think it's plus 300 for top 10. The guy just loves Augusta. We've talked about it already. He plays really well. He knows everything about it. Just his career at Augusta has been unbelievable. Obviously a former winner. And then I took a newer guy, Jacob Bridgman. Just been playing unbelievable this year. Obviously won the Genesis. He's been around for a few of the other big ones as well. Getting plus 600 for him as a top 10. He doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. And
is he the guy?
Putts the
Is
ball
he
really
the
well.
guy that was slapping it around down off the rocks?
Pebble
at,
Beach.
the Pebble
Yeah.
Beach.
He's on the
Yeah.
beach.
and then he won the next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still bogeyed
At the
that hole,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
went on to win the Genesis next week.
Yeah. So immediately when he went down there, I was like, his caddy should be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just like literally go put
These
the
are
ball
rocks.
back. Yeah.
He tried
These
to,
are-
tried
these
to
are
play it, and
pebbles.
then he ended up dropping it. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are you doing?
We talked about it on the pod that week of,
Yeah.
you know, his wife had to be pissed at how much money that dumb decision cost him, and then he goes on to win the next signature event.
Yeah.
That kind
Yeah.
of solved things.
Yeah.
Well, some people are saying that's where Morikawa got his back injury. He took a nap waiting for him to get fucking off the green.
Yeah. And then to fill out our fat boy parlay, it's Sepp Straka at plus 200.
Yeah.
Top 20, been striping the ball really well. He putts the ball well. Just had a few blow up holes in moments where he's been in contention and has been top 10 in a few tournaments this year. So I thought that was a good one as well. And then top 40, I went way down and took Aldrich, big boy Aldrich. He hits the ball so
Five-meter.
far. I feel like he just fires at every pin. Almost won a tournament earlier this year. He's fearless, and he could just go out and make some birdies. He's going to make some doubles as well, but I don't think he's going to fear anything about this. Got him at plus 180 to be top 40. So yeah, that rounds it out for me.
Nice. I like those picks.
No doubt. Just looking at this now, realizing 4 out of my 5 picks are all Euros, so that's nice. I had Tommy Fleetwood at making the top 5 at plus 470. Tommy's been playing great. He's got to break through at a major at some point. Could definitely see him being in contention this week. Wouldn't shock me at all. 470, those are great odds. So went with that one. And then we've talked about Justin Rose quite a bit on here. I had him top 10 at plus 330. I don't see why he couldn't make that happen. Plus 330 seems very high. Played well last year. Should have probably won it, but Murray had something to say about that. And then another top 10er, we had Tyrrell Hatton at plus 495. You want to talk about someone with some fire? I could totally see him coming down to Sunday, doubling number 17, breaking his club over his knee, throwing it. He's
Been there.
always a pretty solid player around Augusta. Got that fiery attitude. I like him in top 10. And then Jordy at plus 142, top 20. I almost think that's a shoe-in. There's got to come a point in time where Jordan wins again at Augusta. And then Coop's favorite pick, top 40, Tom McKibben,
Yep.
plus 125, top 40. Could see it. He's been playing really great. Set a record over in Hong Kong. Obviously, Augusta, Georgia is not Hong Kong, but he's been playing great. Young guy coming up, the DP World Tour. You look at this guy, wait until you see a picture of him. Ugly motherfucker, but he can play some golf.
Speak for yourself.
Man. Well, guys, that's the cards, and I think that was how we wanted to wrap up the show, but definitely want to open it up to anyone on, any other kind of hot golf takes that they have in terms of what's going on with we touched on Tiger and Phil not being in for the first time in many, many years. Coob, I would love to get your take actually on your boy. And, are you sending him fan mail in his treatment facility, or what's going on there?
Coop sneaking perks.
Yeah, it was so, all the memes that have come out have been so great, right? And then obviously seeing the audio of him being like, "Oh, I'm on the phone with the president," right? Like that's incredible stuff. you see like Riggs from Barstool, you see Dan Rappaport, and these guys come out with these videos, and they're like, you would think someone got killed in their family the way they reacted to this, right? And it sucks. And but at the same time, we got to think like he's 50 years old, right? And you're playing against guys that are 25 and 27 who are they're so good at golf. And for you to really want to compete on the PGA Tour, he said it before, there's only a select few of events that he can compete with these guys in, right? And it's because of the knowledge of the course, and it's Augusta, St. Andrews, it's those places where he's won a bunch. It sucks to see that someone's struggling with something like that as much, but it's like that's his steroid now, it's painkillers, right? I didn't really think that he could get back to winning the tour championship or the Masters when he did. Everything would have to become perfect for him to do that, but I think especially now, right, he's going to go through all the rehab stuff and his body is just in shambles. I just don't really think that we're ever going to see him compete on the PGA Tour again. I think we could definitely see him on the Champions Tour, an end of an era, right? When you talk about Phil and Tiger not being, around at the Masters, two of those guys got us into golf. So, but
Phil would be there. He said some sort of health issue with his family or something, but
right. It's just age-wise, right? They're getting up there. So,
Justin, on the I think Coob, obviously probably the most pro Tiger guy of the four of us, but I know I said my piece on him last week with Ryan and Max. Where do you fall on Tiger? Are you rooting for a comeback? Do you think it's even worth rooting for at this point? I'm with Coob. I mean, he's washed, he's done, and I think he's a piece of shit, so I don't really care what happens to his golf career. I hope he gets better. I hope he's there for his kids and his family. But where do you fall with the whole Tiger thing and his golf game, how his issues have affected your fandom of him?
I think Tiger, being on the course, being in the game, being in contention, it's all better for golf. I just see a different vibe with golf fans everywhere when Tiger's out there teeing off. He's got to get help for himself. You guys have said it. He's got to figure that out. I don't think he ever will figure that out personally. I don't care where he's at rehab. It's going to be pain management for the rest of his life. His body's so banged up from, past experiences. I don't think he's going to make a comeback. I don't think there's a point for him to make a comeback. But you got to think about this. Like the whole generation of golfers that are playing right now, he created them. Like they grew up watching him. They're all built because of him. So to now come out and try to beat them, which he did in 2019, but that's not sustainable. Will he be back at Augusta? I could see him hobbling around probably, but I don't know how often that's going to be. As far as my fandom goes, I don't know. I think he's kind of a piece of shit too for what he did, what he continues to do. And I speak on that just from the perspective of putting other people's lives at risk. Hire a driver. I don't know what the deal is there. Like I'm not with Daniel Rappaport and he feels free driving. Like, dude, what's wrong with you? It kind of irked me. Just some of these guys coming to his defense. But he's got all the money in the world.
Than God. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you can drive around your neighborhood. Like, I don't know. It's like
it comes with the territory, right? Like when you have that amount of money, there are no excuses. You have a driver, period.
Well,
like,
if you're going to be
driving, unless you're sober and you're driving a McLaren or something and, being reckless sober, okay, great. You want an adrenaline rush, but doing 55 and a 25 and flipping your car in the local neighborhood fucked up on painkillers is like,
yeah. Well,
that's my thing. It's like
shit together.
If you're on the painkillers, get the driver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing is he probably thinks he's normal.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. That's the norm for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wake up and I take 15 Perkies with my orange juice and I'm ready to roll for the day until, the next dose at 1:00.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm
Probably
with you guys. I mean, I think I was a big Tiger fan early. The whole Elon situation originally was kind of like, whoa, dude, like you shouldn't be out there fucking everything that walks, like get it together. But listen, every celebrity has been there, it feels like. So we swept that one under the rug. Then we had the first incident and it's like, buddy, you were just like making this miraculous comeback. You're, somewhat fresh off a win in a major in 2019, being back on the scene. He wants nothing more to be in the spotlight for that reason. And then you fuck it up with that. And now he's at the point where he's just an absolute bionic man. I mean, he's the poor man's Terminator right now. And it's just the only way to feel comfortable every day is to be fucked up on painkillers. You know what? So be it. You got the prescription, whatever it is, go for it. But just don't put everybody else's life at risk because you depend on painkillers every day. That's just not how it works. So, I mean, I've lost some respect for him.
It'll be interesting to see if he gets his shit together enough and get his body to a healthy enough place to where he can kind of ride off into the twilight, or kind of do the Gary Player, the Arnold Palmer, you play at the Masters, you're the first off the tee box on Thursday morning, you play.
That's what it is.
Everyone knows, everyone knows you're not a real competitive threat, but you're there, you're playing, you can still, like, didn't Freddie Couples into his 50s, like kind of, he made the cut and was like,
he always makes
in the mix on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right, though. I think the honorary tee shot is going to become a thing. I mean, it has to, based on the Mount Rushmore of golf, right? But at the same time, if I'm Tiger, I'm sticking to TGL. It's right down the street from my house. I don't have to worry about all the nonsense of logistics. It's something that I created that I want to take off. It's not taxing on my body. It's literally 2.5 hours of rotating swings. You're not even playing 18 holes.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm curious on your guys' take. Do you think his personal problems that he's had, it's been a lot, you think that kind of tarnishes some of his professional success?
Yeah. It certainly dings his legacy, and it's because it's a footnote that has to, when you tell the story of Tiger Woods, you have to talk about the struggles and why the sport's most dominant player ever all of a sudden fell off a cliff and was no longer competitive, right? And why did that happen? Well, because he made very bad personal choices that ultimately, and then just never got his shit together again to be a consistent, not even dominator, but just a consistent competitor. He won 2019, but
it's the perfect rise and fall documentary. And somebody's going to pay good money for that shit. And it's, hopefully produced the right way, because there's an opportunity for that to be an outstanding documentary. But we'd be remiss to not talk about the rise in fame and what he did to change the game of golf and how he completely fumbled it at the end of the day. And that's what, took him out of it. So.
I've got the recipe for image repair that he could follow, and Goob could put this in his next letter to him, but we're at war with Iran, right? So he's a Navy SEAL. Join the military, go over to Iran, take down the bad guys, come back a national hero, and he'll be like, that's the spotlight. There you go. Right?
He's close with the
Does that make too much sense?
We talked about cloning Dan Hurley for that last week, but you may be onto something. Maybe we mix in Tiger's genes a little bit.
It is funny because for how crazy like Trump is, you could just see him doing like a State of the Union with like Tiger there for whatever reason, just to be
100%.
like, hey, this guy's
pilled out of his head.
Yeah.
Head rolling off his shoulder. Drooling on himself.
It's crazy because like my two favorite athletes of all time probably, right, are Tiger and Michael Jordan. And both of those guys, you could argue, were, the biggest womanizers of all time, right? And not faithful to their wives and not very good to their family. And it's like something that comes with that position of power and being like the greatest athlete at what you do, right? And so, and both of those it sounds like they had not as great upbringings, specifically Tiger, but it is just crazy. Like two of the most dominant athletes of all time. You're like, hey, they're off the field issues are about as bad as they get from a family life.
Earl was a bad apple, huh? slanging that dong all around the country.
Documentary they put out, it's like Tiger's on the range. He's banging a chick and I want to bang her.
Tiger, go putt a few, Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earl's got some broad bouncing on his lap in the fucking Subaru.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, Tiger is he's a compelling story. He's polarizing when he's in the mix, when he's, his name is in the headlines. It obviously brings the casuals like myself more eyeballs to the sport. So I don't think his name is going away anytime soon, but is it going to be good headlines or bad headlines? We'll have to figure it out. We've been going for a while now. We gave our picks on the Masters. We gave some of our favorite things about the Masters, how we do this weekend, what we'd like to see happen. So I think it was a great show. Justin, Coob, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on and being our third and fourth guests on the Nardog Sports Show. Marsh, you brought the heat per usual. Really appreciate all your knowledge, and I really appreciate you not delving too deep into different types of grass. I know you were incredibly tempted to do so, but it was a great show. We deserve a banger of a Masters tournament after the dud of a Final Four we just had to sit through. So let's keep our fingers crossed and enjoy the golf, guys. We'll talk again for the PGA Championship will be next. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Peace.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Awesome.
That's the show, now you know. This is how the real ones roll. Big thanks, good night, see you down the road on the Nardog Sports Show.